each other. So that's how it goes. We surprise each other with a life question in between pertaining to the self-love journey. We're both on that as well. And all in between, relationships, past, anything. There's nothing off the table of what you can ask each other. So we have our questions. And now we're going to start. If you're interested in seeing what else we do, visit our website, selfloveexodus.com. Selfloveexodus.com. Okay, so with that said, I believe I'm asking you first. Okay, my question pertains to a post that you commented on, and you said, "I live my favorite post."
So it was such a good post.
Yes. So I'm interested to know about you. My post was about like what I thought I wanted, and then when I started the journey, I realized what I actually needed. So with yours, it's basically the same question. What is something that you thought you wanted in the past, and today, now, you're realizing perhaps it's not what you want anymore, and you realize this is actually what I need, or maybe your wants are different. So I just want to know the difference between your wants to today, or like, what is something that you thought that you wanted, and through the journey you realize, oh, I actually needed this. Yeah. So curious what's coming up in your mind. You saw my post. I talked about like, I thought I wanted all these things. I mean, some of them would be nice or whatever, but really I needed to focus on these needs of mine because I was so hurt and insecure and empty. Yeah, what's going through your mind?
Well, this is a very interesting question, and as you're asking me it, I'm having a lot of like, like a lot is coming through.
Oh, okay.
Because it's really the transition is from like having this idealized destination that I'm headed toward, and my happiness and well-being and peace and confidence and sense of identity all are out here, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like trying to get there, right? So transitioning from this like mode of destination-based living
totally
to really the only thing that I actually want is like peace in my body and mind. So then it becomes like what facilitates peace in my body and mind. And so then it's like daily movement, consciousness and presence, eating well, like nurturing my meaningful connections, doing something in regards
so much more
to
simpler.
It's so simple.
So simple, so important, yet it's so difficult for us to make this a priority.
It's like
show up to it daily.
The daily habits and practices, like that's what I want now. And that's what is like my priority in life. And there's this quote that I've been really loving. It's a Tibetan saying. And the quote is, take care of your minutes and the years will take care of themselves.
Oh, I love that so much. Take
care of your minutes and the years will take care of themselves.
Okay, that's sticking with me so much.
I know. It really stuck with me too. And so this is where I'm at now. I'm at like, let me just take care of my minutes. That's the lifestyle that I'm about,
It's really nailing it down to like, okay, people say day by day. Guess what? A lot happens in a day. And it's like, let's narrow it down even more. And then like, for me, I've said moment by moment too. Let's just focus on the moment right now and the next moment. Like, let's just live in that.
Yeah.
And then minutes by minutes.
Yeah.
Let's live for our minutes.
For sure. And I still have desires. There are still certain things that like I realize that I desire. And I'm like, oh, that's something that I think I'm probably in process of manifesting, you know? Yeah. When I get like a really strong hit of like, ooh, this is something that would facilitate more peace in my body and mind. So I'm just going to like call this in, Okay,
I love that you're centering around like checking if your desires are in alignment for your peace and mind.
Yeah, peace in my body and mind.
Peace in your body and mind.
And then I think that the other piece around this is like, as it relates to other people, That's also my standard. It's like may all of the people that are for me come into my orbit, and may I get to learn with them and grow with them and expand with them.
Beautiful.
And like, may they be in alignment with peace in my body and mind.
Oh my gosh, can you write that somewhere? That's a great like mantra
Yeah.
and a way to live.
Right.
Because then you're not worried. You're not.
Yeah.
It doesn't invite worry. Like when I hear that, you're not worried. You're like, may they, and if not, they don't, but may they.
Yeah.
Oh, I love how you just worded that. Like
versus.
Into my orbit. Yeah.
Right? Versus, I want a partner. I need a partner, right? It's like, no, I need people in my life who align and serve peace in my body and mind. Yeah. So I think that it's important to get specific about like what our corest need is, and then asking for others to like asking like the universe to bring us those who align with that, versus like even like I want a child or I want children. It's like, okay, but if you want peace in your body and mind, that might not be like for me at this point, you know, I don't know if that's like in alignment with peace in my body and mind, is like bring children into my life like that. So yeah, I think it's like a lot of, and what I loved about your post, by the way, is what you really did was you like kind of like what you wanted was like all of the social conditioning.
Yeah, seriously, because that's what I was brought up, what somebody was brought up in, that's what I naturally saw growing up.
Yeah. And so that's a lot of what we're all here like undoing. It's like, is this even my path? If it was my path, then I would be on that path, you know? If my path was like marriage and children and owning the house and having the 9 to 5 and like working for someone else and living this kind of standard like lifestyle, then that would be the path that we would be on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And like, it makes me think about like if people are seeing themselves going on that path, but do you feel peace being on that path though? So then it makes us rethink a little bit, you know, which could be too overwhelming for a lot of us, and also that can be powerful because you have this awareness now.
Totally.
Like, wait a minute, I thought this brought me peace. It's actually bringing on more stress.
Yes.
Anyway, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're saying is there was you realized that what you've realized that you need first and foremost is peace in your mind and body. And what was it? What would you say is something from the past that's like how would I say it? What was the one? I guess was it the partner thing? Like, oh, I want a partner, but it's like, no, actually, may people, like just people, and if they happen to be my partner, okay. But like first and foremost, may the people come into my orbit that's about growth and I can grow with and expand with. Like, I love that's just how like a general kind of like manifestation or like a state of mind that you're in.
Yeah.
To cultivate more peace, continuance peace, continuance of your peace.
Well, and the reason why that shifted for me is because I spent a lot of years like desiring this like certain life that I thought was, I don't know, the life to have. And then once I started like really shifting on the self-love journey and like nourishing myself, like that being my top priority, right? Is like nourishing myself.
Yes.
I stopped desiring this other thing because I was having peace. And when you have peace and comfort and contentment in your environment and in your body and in your mind, you no longer need this other thing. So then that really broke down the delusion
I love
of like trying to get someone else to bring me my own wholeness, you know? Yeah. So then it was like, okay, good. So now I know.
Okay, good stuff. Okay.
Now I know that this is all within my control, right? Like feeling comfortable in my own experience is like within my control. And it doesn't depend on this like mysterious factor of like when my person is going to arrive, you know? It has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how you highlighted that the desire goes down because you're fulfilling your needs, basically.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel so. When I think about that desire that you're talking about, it's almost like you're so worried and there's a panic feeling with it, and you want to chase, then your actions follow. You're chasing for it.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're signing up on the dating website. I gotta go find people. Like I gotta be at every party. I gotta meet people. Where? I just feel that energy. So let's invite more peace into our bodies and minds. And of course, that comes with practice. That's how we do what we do. The meditations, the workshops, self-love in the park. It's like, okay, let's hold space.
It comes with practice.
Yeah.
That's the way that you get there, is through practice.
And that's our invitation to the world, to our communities. Like, you come or not. We're going to be here doing the work, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, and this is my biggest commitment. Like, my biggest commitment is self-investment, because it solves all the problems.
Seriously.
Yeah.
On point. Thank you for answering my
Thank
question.
you for asking it. Loved it. Okay, your question. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
So you were speaking this morning, you were sharing a personal story of catching yourself not being in a people-pleasing mode.
Yes.
Right? And like reflecting on like, oh wow, the old Quinn would have handled that situation very differently. So my question for you is like this transition from people-pleasing to full self-responsibility. And like, I guess what I'm asking, I'm still kind of formulating my question right now.
I'm just feeling it too.
Yeah. So when you're taking full self-responsibility, it's like we project outward what we're doing for ourselves. So when you're taking full responsibility, you're also projecting onto others their full responsibility, right?
Totally.
Which like inhibits this people-pleasing thing of like you being responsible to them in some way, to please them, to make sure they're happy, they're comfortable, right? So my question is like that bridge from being a people pleaser and that being your primary mode to being fully self-responsible, and like what like mindsets, what mindsets needed to shift in order for me to get from there to there.
Well, the first thing that popped out is something that I mentioned our last live. You're talking about my core values. And so my first mindset was like, I need to be my own best friend. Like, I'm going to do it. And it was brought, like, I got excited with that idea because I'm just like, oh, I have full control of this. Like, everything that I desired from other people, I can create that experience for myself. So my mindset, my mission was to really experience what it's going to be like being my own best friend. And this is why I started documenting everything, because I'm just like, I want to document this and see how it is, like a personal diary. So my mindset was to like have this experience for me and only me. Yeah. And that was like my main priority mindset. And my mindset also, because this year when I started really channeling my fire from hurt, feeling hurt, abandoned, fucked over, all of that, it really fueled me into like, I am going to be fucking successful. Like,
yeah.
Excuse my language, but it's like at that time I was just like, fuck man, like fuck this. I'm just gonna be successful. So my mindset was like to be successful, like financially and also like personally, and like to be my own best friend. And the fuel was my pain, everybody. Like my fuel was my pain. I had it, and I just knew that I could not afford to go back. It's almost like, I know we've talked about this before too, like the more hurt you are could be your best fuel.
Oh, yeah. It has been the primary fuel in my life.
Yeah, and like the more that I allow myself to go into my shames, I wouldn't have done those actions if I had enough space from practicing self-love to really assess situations and really stand up for myself and not go against myself and do these shameful acts. So it's like going deeper into my shames also ignites this fire, this, to really live by my promise, which is to be my own best friend even more.
That's that transmutation process, right? You go into your shame by going into it and feeling it and facing it and looking at it and doing all the shame work, it fuels you to do the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's the power of going into your pains, you know? So when you talk about mindset, it's like mindset, okay, we have that mindset. And then also though, we gotta practice, like see ourselves actually do it.
Yeah.
And then it comes with feeling the emotions, right? Because for me, I was fighting against not going back to my ex, like reaching out. Every time when I was triggered, so I was just like, let me be my own best friend through this. When I'm crying at night, feeling left abandoned, all of that, and it's like, I'm gonna be my own best friend, just really crying through it and still delivering this promise to myself. So it's like, yes, you have your mindset, and then also it's the practice, and then it's feeling the emotions, and you repeat. And you repeat till the day you die. Seriously.
Yeah.
You repeat this, and then your mind gets really healthy. And then so I saw myself being responsible with this mindset, being responsible for my emotions because they were the most hurt. So I guess there's a tip coming on here. It's like if you're recognize where you're the most hurt, because that part's drowning, that part is dying, so you need to be the rescuer and save it. What is a self-promise that you can come up with yourself so that you can live by it to save yourself from drowning the areas in your life that are drowning? So absolutely, it was like my emotions needed to be saved and loved on by me. Where was I going with that? The responsibility. So responsibility over my emotions first. It was like mind and emotion. And then guess what? It starts evolving from there, because once you feel like you've got it, you're like, oh yeah, my body. And so it went to like my physical health. And then it just opens up so much space, everyone, to be more responsible. It was like these 5 areas of myself, right? Emotion, my mental, my emotion, my spiritual self, like really feeling into who I am, my physical, my financial, and then it expanded to being responsible for being a team player, an active member in my family. So it just, the responsibility just gets bigger and bigger. And then what comes in handy also is that you find opportunities to take responsibility in every situation.
Yeah.
Like, how can I just find my way to take responsibility, because the tension is just going to keep going on, whether it's between you and somebody else or you and yourself or you at work, right? When you need a boo, when you fucked up, it allows you to be empowered to take responsibility, and you know that this is going to heal you, this is going to grow you. So it's quite a journey. So we, join us, because it's hard. Join us on our stuff, please.
The thing that this is making me think of is you were talking about how by going through the pain of your kind of codependency breakdown, your fuel was to be successful. And then you're talking about like all of these different areas of your life that you've been like cultivating responsibility, and how that responsibility keeps expanding. And it makes me think that like success is like the ability to be like healthy in our responsibilities and like expansive in our responsibilities, because it's like the more we can be responsible, the more we can hold responsibility, the more success we can have.
I love this so
right
much. Yeah, and then that goes into self-accountability, because then you're like being responsible for your actions. Like you know that you're responsible for this. Yeah, and so like for an example, how can I be show up or like have my business, let's just say, be financially successful if there's no responsibility in that,
exactly.
And I feel like some of that is healing from codependency too, because we're so used to, for an example, working for other people. You're dependent on other people paying you, your boss, whatever, the schedule and stuff like that.
Totally.
Oh, just so much into that.
Yeah.
Ownership.
Independence. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, I love how you frame that. It's like, success, responsibility, self-responsibility.
Yeah, because it's like if we can't even be responsible with like taking care of our basic needs, like how are we going to be responsible with like other people's hearts or like our work in the world,
Yes.
So it really, this is why like for me, it always comes back to like, am I drinking enough water? Am I moving my body? You know, like these very basic things, you know, are like building the framework and the foundation for these like really higher level responsible realms where you get to like really experience like the fruits, the juiciness of life, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot through that where it's like, yeah, perhaps when starting off the journey, yes, have this like, what is your mindset, you know? Like what is the promise that you're gonna make to yourself? And then also let's go to your basic needs.
Basic needs. Every day. Like yes. Start from there. Like build those so deep into habit before you try and like expand into the next thing. You know, this is one of the practices. It's like if you're still not drinking enough water, like keep focusing just on that one goal until you're like it's in your habit, it's in your rhythm, it's in your routine.
Yes, because you know what happens. Like, Brittany, I'll just share with mine. Like, this is what sometimes like gets me puts like a dent in my day. It's from not drinking enough water, and then now I have a headache.
Yeah.
Right now I'm moodier.
Yeah.
Now I have less space for anything.
Exactly.
Right, and I built all this, you know, I have all my clients and stuff like that. So
yes, all these responsibilities.
It's like foundational, basic needs for like the human survivalness.
Yes,
and then also for like your like self-love needs, like your emotional needs and whatnot, right? And if there's no foundation, anything can knock us out. And then we're on the ground again, right? And I feel like this is why people feel like they need to reset all the time because something hasn't been like ingrained, like a consistent, ingrained practice. Yeah, for sure. All right, great question.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So we talked about responsibility, and we talked about, and with that, right, when you take responsibility for your life, you're fulfilling your own needs, what you desired in the past simmers down.
It simmers down. And then we're not so running on this craving energy where we're just like craving, yearning, longing. And that's like the fuel, you know? But that fuel is coming from this place of like emptiness. And that's such an uncomfortable, like, and it's exhausting, you know? I think that it's temporary. It creates like fatigue in the spirit, a lot of sadness, you know?
If you need support, we do meditations every Saturday at 10 a.m. virtually. We meet up in person at the park if you're locally in Sacramento, twice a month, and then once a month we do virtual workshops. So if you need support, that is how we can support you. Okay, we'll see you.